Hello lovelies, it's Miss Lady Lace here on my Glamour channel, and today I have a new fabulous video where I'm going to be sharing a few fabulous tips on vintage shopping. If you love all things vintage and pinup, I share all of my passions here on YouTube with videos including tutorials, tips, tricks, and so much more. Be sure to subscribe to never miss out on my vintage fun. Today I'm going to be sharing 5 fabulous tips to get the most out of your vintage shopping experience. Tip number 1 is to know what you're looking for. Whether you're starting a wardrobe completely or you're looking at the wardrobe you already have and you're identifying what pieces you need to create your dream wardrobe, it's good to really think about what you're looking for so you're not just frivolously buying things that are similar to what you already have or aren't quite your style. I find both Instagram and Pinterest really fabulous for really developing my inspiration sources and what sort of looks I want to create. As well as knowing what you're after, knowing your budget is really important because there's lots of different stores that could suit what you're looking for. If you have a big budget, definitely check out your local vintage boutique stores that could have items that suit. But if you have a smaller budget, what I would recommend is sourcing your inspiration photos and then going to op shop/thrift stores and looking for items that sort of resemble this so you can have the look of vintage without that really big price tag. Tip number 2 is to check regularly. Whether you're going to an op shop, a vintage store, looking on Facebook or Instagram, it's really important to check back regularly, visit these stores regularly, go online regularly, as stock does change quite regularly and they may get a new item in that suits both your look and your budget. Tip number 3 is to spend time looking at each item. By taking a really close look at each item that you're looking to buy, you can actually look at the item and make sure it's identified correctly. So if it says it's a 1940s garment, it's definitely actually a 1940s garment. I think I've got a video up on YouTube where I share how to date an item, how to identify true vintage clothing. So that'll be a really big help if you're newer to that whole thing. By taking a closer look, you'll be able to identify it's definitely what you're after. There's not any damages to the dress that you don't want to actually take the time to repair, and really ensure it fits you well and looks good on you. There's simply no point in buying a dress that doesn't bring you happiness. Tip number 4 is to wear a slip or another undergarment that you can wear under your dress. A slip is a fabulous undergarment that gives you a layer between your body/lingerie and your outer layer of clothing. They were really common in the 40s and 50s and they are such an essential item to your wardrobe. Not only are they fabulous, but I use them all the time in markets that don't have change rooms or don't have enough change rooms, where I can just simply take off the dress and I can still try on the item without being in my lingerie. The slip is a truly useful garment, and I find if you ever have vintage dresses that have itchiness around the waistband or around the chest area, by wearing a slip it'll reduce that completely, as well as being a practical item for when you're vintage shopping. Tip number 5 is to bring a vintage shopping kit. A few years ago I made a video sharing my vintage shopping kit, so there were essential items that I take when I go vintage shopping. So within whatever bag I'm taking with me that day, I'll have a few key items. I'll link the video below, but I will go through what I like to bring every time I go vintage shopping. The first item is a measuring tape. This means when I'm looking at a dress, if it doesn't have the measurements listed on the tag, because quite often vintage sizes are not listed on a tag of a vintage item, or if they are, the sizing is very different to what we use in modern day times. By taking my measuring tape, I can double check if that is actually going to fit me, if it's even worth getting out of whatever I'm wearing to try that on. So a measuring tape is an absolute must-have. The next 2 items in our vintage shopping kit are particularly useful if we're going to be trying on clothing, but we have our hair and makeup in place. So we have a chiffon headscarf and we have a handkerchief or a tissue that we always want to have on us. The headscarf, what we do with this is we wrap that around our hair so we can protect that from anything that we're going to be trying on, so it's not going to mess up the curls and styling that I have in place. The handkerchief or tissue I use to put in my mouth, and I'm just covering my lips, so when I'm trying on a vintage dress, I'm not going to transfer lipstick onto the dress if I'm wearing something that doesn't have that really strong stay power. So this is a really good item to ensure we're not damaging clothing or beautiful vintage items. The final item in my vintage shopping kit is a reusable bag, so I can pack all of my prized things that I've just bought while vintage shopping, so I can look fabulous while walking around and not need any plastic bags or anything that would become more wasteful. My vintage shopping kit has made my vintage shopping adventures so much easier over many years of exploring. These have been my fabulous vintage shopping tips. If you have any more that you'd like to share in the comments below, please do let everyone else know so we can chat all things vintage shopping. I truly hope you've enjoyed today's video and found it a little bit useful. If you have, be sure to give it a like and a comment below, as that really helps me out. And if you have any videos that you'd like to see, do let me know in the comments below. If you'd like early access to my videos, exclusive content, and to help support me creating more videos here on YouTube, I have my glamour community on Patreon. I'd like to thank all my patrons, but especially my VIP glamour patrons, which are listed on the screen now. The support you give me truly helps me in creating more here on YouTube. If you'd like to follow my daily pinup adventures, I post super regularly to Instagram and I share a lot of my vintage shopping over there. I'll pop a little link here as well as at the end of the video, and to never miss out on my vintage fun, be sure to hit that subscribe button below, turn on those bell notifications, and I will be seeing you all soon.